old city in Honam, the southwestern part of the Korean peninsula. Jeonju has been one of the major regional centers south of Hanyang, as Seoul was called during the Yi dynasty. As the capital city of the Chola province, Jeonju played a key role in the area during the Yi dynasty as its social, political, economic, and cultural center. In the southern part of the city, which has traditionally been the hub of the city's activities, are located such historic sites as Pungnam-mun, Cheondong Church, Gyeonggi-jeong, Omakdae, and Martyrs Mountain. This area is still well preserved and loved by the general public. In Jeonju and in its vicinity, there exist many sites of Catholic martyrdom. There are found in different places tombs of martyrs and villages where the Catholic faithful used to live in seclusion after fleeing from persecution. Year-round, pilgrims from all over the country come to visit these places to pay homage to the martyrs. At these historic sites, where the precious blood of martyrdom was shed, they appreciate every single minute of their pilgrimage, as they feel as if the martyrs were with them. Cheondong Church, which is located close to Pungnam-mun, is an elegant structure overlooking the neighborhood. Although it became a major landmark of the city, loved by its citizens, there are not many people who know the history of the church well. This is the place where Yoon Chi-chung and Kwon Sang-yan, the first martyrs of Korea, were executed in 1791. 10 years later, in 1801, when there was a mass persecution of Catholics, Yu Hong-kong, who introduced Catholicism into the Choledo area, was also executed here. The method of execution employed for these martyrs called for hacking the bodies into pieces. After his execution, the head of Yu Hong-kong was displayed on Pungnam-mun to warn the people of the dire consequences of becoming a Catholic. Why were Yoon Ji-chung and Kwon Sang-yan executed? Yoon Ji-chung, a descendant of the famous poet Yoon Sun-do, was born in Chinsan and baptized by Yi Sung-hoon. He influenced his cousin, Kwon Sang-yan, into becoming a Catholic. When Yoon Ji-chung's mother, Madame Kwon, who was also Kwon Sang-yan's aunt, passed away, they did not perform the memorial services for her following the ritual formalities based on the Confucian tradition, as this was against the teachings of the church. But their refusal to perform the ritual led them to their tragic death. 10 years after the death of Yoon Ji-chung and Kwon Sang-yan, Yu Hong-kong, who is called the Apostle of Honam, was also executed here. Yu Hong-kong came from a rich noble family and was baptized by Yi Sung-hoon. He preached Catholicism in his native town and was sentenced to death for treason. He was executed outside Pungnam-mun, where his body was cut into pieces in the presence of onlookers. In 1908, a century after the precious blood of martyrdom was first shed, Father Bodone, who was the first priest to be assigned to Jeonju, began the construction of the Cheondong Church at a location across from the site of the Chola provincial governor's office of the old days, where persecution and massacres of Catholics were carried out. Amid hardships, the church was completed in 1914, but it was not until 1931, 23 years after the commencement of its construction, that the church was consecrated. The church, built in a full-blown Romanesque style, embodies a harmony of the cultures of the East and West, emanating the warmth of motherly love. Cheondong Church has played a pivotal role in the Catholic community of Chola Province. It was in this church that pastoral duties were performed by Koreans for the first time in the province. Since 1937, when North Chola Province was separated from the Daegu Vicariate Apostolic and was elevated to a Prefecture Apostolic, becoming the Jeonju Prefecture Apostolic. The church has played an even more important role in the province as a cathedral. The church has gone through some difficulties, such as the Korean War and a fire in 1988 whose cause could not be identified. But by the grace of the martyrs who lost their lives here, the church remains intact today. This is the site of the house where Yu Hong-kong was born. He was martyred in 1801 outside Pungnam-mun, where the Cheondong Church stands today. It could be said that this is the birthplace of the Catholic Church in the Chola province. Yu Hong-gong came from a respectable family, and he preached to his family members, servants, and friends in this house. It was in this house that his son, Chung Chol-jan, and his wife, Yi Sun-yi Lutgarda, led 4 years of their wedlock, during which they kept their virginity. The virgin couple, shining like a jewel in the history of Catholicism in Korea, promised each other to keep their virginity in order to dedicate themselves entirely to God. Through self-restraint, they transcended carnal desires and emerged as winners by succeeding in keeping their commitment. The peaceful house was raided one day by soldiers. Those who were in the house were taken away for execution, one by one. The house was torn down, and its site was dug into a pond. The family of Yu Hong-gong was destroyed overnight. 200 years has elapsed since then, and it is a bliss for pilgrims to be where the martyrs lived and pray to God in appreciation of the noble lives of the martyrs. This is Sukjong-i, which is located at the center of Jeonju. A military command was located here, which was also used as an execution ground for Catholics. Following the execution of Yu Hong-gong in September 1801, his oldest son, Jung Chol, and his second son, Moon Chol, were martyred in October at the age of 23 and 18 respectively. On the 28th of December, the rest of his family were beheaded here. They were his wife, Shin Hee, his brother's wife, Yi Yuk Hee, his daughter-in-law, Yi Sun-yi Lutgarda, and his nephew, Jung Sung. It was a cold winter day when the 4 members of Yu Hong-gong's family were led to the site of their execution. In a letter to her older sister from her prison cell before she was executed, Yi Lutgarda wrote,
천지간에 전 가장 큰 죄인입니다. 세상에 대하여는 벽동군의 관리가 되어 부끄럽게 됐고, 천주께 대하여는 제 죄로 천주와 그분의 은혜를 100번이나 배반했습니다. 그러나 제가 끝을 잘 맺어 순교자가 된다면 제 모든 죄가 순식간에 지워질 것이고 만복 속에 들어가게 될 것이니 괴로워할 것이 무엇이겠습니까?
There was no time for the blood of martyrdom to dry. On May 29, 1839, 5 gentlemen, including Shin Tae-bo, were beheaded. On December 13, 1866, another 6 people, Chung Moon-ho, Son Sun-chi, Han Chae-kwan, Cho Hwa-so, Yi Myung-so, and Chung Won-ji were executed. All these martyrs were canonized on May 6, 1984. Today, people come to this place of martyrdom to remember the noble faith of the martyrs and to pray for their guidance. This is living proof that the lives of these martyrs were not lost. This is Martyrs Mountain, overlooking Pungnam-mun, Cheondong Church, and Gyeonggi-jeon. The top of the mountain provides a view of a harmonious combination of tile-roofed Korean-style houses and the Cheonju River flowing through the city. An upward look at the rugged top of the mountain from its foot below reveals a huge stone cross, which serves as a monument testifying to the history of the mountain. The mountain attracts year-round processions of pilgrims who find it a huge natural prayer ground. This mountain was bought by Father Boudinais when he was the pastor of Cheondong Church. He bought the remains of Yu Hong-gong and his family members to the church for enshrinement from their original burial places in Cheonam-ni, Yeongjimyeon, Kim-jae-gun. He then reburied the remains in this mountain on the 19th of April, 1914. Since that time, the mountain has been a place of great significance for Korean Catholics. It is said that the remains were buried in a place of such a height to help pilgrims emulate the martyrs by going through the pain of climbing up and down the rugged mountain. It was also hoped that the martyrs would look down to this area from the height of their new tombs and pray for the faithful. When carrying out yet another reburial of the remains in November 1993, the authorities of the Jeonju diocese ascertained that the remains were in fact those of Yu Hong-gom, his wife Shin-hee, the virgin couple Yu Jung-chol and Yi Sun-hee, Yu Hong-gom's second son Moon-chol, his nephew Jung-sung, and his brother's wife Yi Yuk-hee. It was 192 years after the martyrdom of the Yu family and 79 years after the reburial of their remains that the confirmation was made. In 1801, in Chonam-ni, the individual members of Yu Hong-gom's family were taken by the police of the Yi dynasty to different places for execution. But now, they all lie here in the same grave, awakening the faith of those who come to visit them. What a divine providence!
어머님, 너무 상심하지 마시고 모든 걱정을 억제하십시오. 이 세상을 꿈으로 보시고 영혼을 어머님의 본향으로 생각하시어 늘 경계를 게을리하지 마시고요. 그리고 모든 일에 있어 천주의 명령을 따르신 뒤에 어머님이 이 세상을 떠날 때는 천하고 약한 자식인 제가 끝없는 행복의 화관을 머리에 쓰고 모든 천상 기쁨이 넘치는 마음으로 어머님의 손을 잡아 영원한 고향으로 모셔드리겠습니다.
This is an underground church constructed in Martyrs Mountain in 1987 in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Jeonju diocese. It took 6 years for completion and was consecrated in 1994. For those who visit this underground church, their joy is enhanced as they experience grace here through Mass, meditation, and prayers. This is a graveyard for the clergy, located at the foot of Martyrs Mountain. Those clergymen who were heads of the diocese or made major contributions to the development of the diocese lie buried here. Those who lie here dedicated their lives to the service to God in a great province of martyrdom. They lie buried close to the martyrs who must be rejoicing in their association with the clergymen in heaven. The number of visitors to Martyrs Mountain is increasing, and they include not only Catholics, but also non-believers. The visitor becomes short of breath as he climbs up the mountain, but he finds it extremely rewarding to do so as his heart becomes full of grace as he remembers the great lives of the martyrs. The 15-year-old son of Saint Nam Jong-sam was martyred in 1886 at Saenam-to, was hanged on the bank of the Jeonju River, together with the son of Hong Bong-ju, another martyr. Then their bodies were thrown into the river from this place. Too young to be executed at the time when other members of their families were killed, their execution had to be postponed until they became old enough. This is where Saint Cho Yun-ho was killed on the 23rd of December, 1866. He was the son of Saint Cho Hwa-so. As it was not possible to kill the father and the son at the same time at the same place, he was killed on a different day under the Sochun Bridge, where he was choked to death by beggars. This is the site of a government office, considered the second most important of all the sites of Catholic martyrdom in the Jeonju diocese. The Catholic faithful who fled from persecution to the deep mountainous areas of Kosan, Kumsan, and Jinsan were captured and brought to this place. They were starved or tortured to death in a most cruel manner. Sometimes the executioners blew water into the faces of the Catholics who were being interrogated in the yard of the government office. And then they covered the faces of the prisoners with layers of thin white paper, thus slowly suffocating them to death. This is where martyrs were hanged. The starvation and torture the martyrs went through was such that they plucked grass from the ground and ate it voraciously as soon as they were brought out from the prison to the hanging ground for execution. It was only because of their prayers and the brotherly love they shared in the prison that they were able to survive the brutal torture and the unbearable hunger. This is a Catholic village where the Catholic faithful have lived together for over 150 years, a place they risked their lives to defend. It is located at the foot of Chunho Mountain in Bibongmyeon, Wonju-kun, about 500 meters above sea level. In order to remember the martyrs and to carry on the spirit of their martyrdom, the Cheonju diocese established a graveyard in this area called Chunho Sungji. In the graveyard are located many tombs of martyrs, including those of Yi Myung-so, Son Sun-ji, Chung Mun-ho, and Han Jae-kun, who were martyred in Sukjong-yi on the 13th of December, 1866, and were later canonized. The graveyard also contains the tombs of 10 unnamed martyrs who were brutally killed in Yosan in 1868. The reburial of all the martyrs resting here was possible only through the strenuous efforts of their descendants and the Catholic faithful, who endeavored as best as they could to preserve the remains in good condition. This was made possible through the hard work of the Honam Catholic Church History Research Institute. Chunho Mission Station, which was originally called Tari-shil or Yangchune, has been in existence since 1839, when the Catholic faithful of the Chungcheong province fled from the Kihei persecution and moved to this area to live in hiding in the deep mountains, thus forming a religious community. Chunho Mission Station was the largest of the 7 mission stations that came to existence at the foot of Chunho Mountain. In 1877, 3 foreign priests, including Father Blanc, often stayed at the Chunho Mission Station and performed their pastoral duties. In 1868, the arm of persecution reached this area, and some people, including the community leader Moon, were arrested and taken to Yosan. The leader Moon and Chung Yun Kyung were later beheaded. Those who live in the village today are proud of their martyred ancestors and still lead a communal life, sharing their faith. In 1987, in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the diocese, a retreat house was established here to remember the martyrs and to carry on their faith. Retreat programs are available year-round, so that not only those from the diocese, but also those from anywhere in the country can participate in the programs and help their faith grow. As the martyred ancestors are buried here and the early Catholic communities still exist here, Catholics from all over the country continue to visit this area for spiritual inspiration. This is the Nabawi Church, located on a round-shaped, elegant hill about 50 meters high, overlooking the Kum River. This is where Father Kim Dae-kun Andrew, the first Korean priest, landed in Korea in 1845, when he returned home from China after being ordained to priesthood there. He arrived here after a 42-day perilous voyage after leaving Shanghai on the 31st of August with Bishop Ferriot and Father Dovoli and 11 Korean Catholics. What a long wait it was until Korea finally produced its first priest, Father Kim Dae-kun. It is inconceivable the amount of blood of martyrdom that had been shed since 1784, when the Catholic Church was established in Korea. The parish of Nabawi was established in 1897, but it was not until 1906 that this beautiful church was constructed. 100 years has elapsed since the parish was established, and 91 years since the church was constructed. The Nabawi Church is a unique wooden structure with a tile roof, embodying an architectural combination of the East and West. As a result of the devoted efforts of the priests to preserve it, the church still remains intact. In the retreat house, which can accommodate 300 persons, the Catholic faithful remember the noble faith of Father Kim Dae-kun and their other spiritual ancestors, whom they are so proud of. They feel pride and obligation at the same time, because they feel obligated to respond to God in their own responsible ways. What is martyrdom? It is the ultimate gift one can receive from God, and the ultimate love one can offer Him. Our martyred ancestors thought life was like a perishing dew and a journey of a lone traveler. They thought death a return to where we came from. That is why they willingly gave up their lives. We are fortunate to have our martyred ancestors who shed their precious blood to lay the foundation of our faith. We are very fortunate because today, wherever we go, we can pray standing on the ground which was once wet with blood of our great martyrs. This year, the Jeonju diocese celebrates its 60th anniversary. Let us thank our great ancestors for the great legacy they left us, and pray that all the martyrs will be blessed with the glory of beatification and canonization. We should be united in our faith, be faithful witnesses to the gospel, and become the guiding light and salt to the world. Glory to God, the Father,